Okay, video number 3. This is one of the fundamental things that computers do, and you need to know how to be able to make Python do it, which is make a decision based on the value of a variable. It's what computers are doing all the time. When people invented computers, the thing about them that made them different from calculators, which already existed, was that you could use a language that felt a little bit like English, obviously not too much like English, but you could write in code which you had learned, and you could chain commands together which made them do a whole load of different things, but depending on what value was, depending on what the input was, or depending on what the result of some maths was, it would then go and do the next thing, and it would make a decision about what the next thing to do would be based on the value of variables in the program. Okay, so that's what makes a computer basically different from a calculator, the fact that it can be programmed to make decisions based on the value of the data that it's using in the program. Okay, so how does that translate into basic Python? Well, instead of printing hello name just as a thing which happens every time, we're going to use the if word, and basically after line 2 they have entered their name. So from line 3 onwards we now have a value for the name variable, and even if they press enter and say nothing, what they've actually done is they've entered nothing in speech marks. Okay, because if they enter George, that is literally like the equivalent of George in speech marks. It's called a string variable. It's treated as a string. A string is like a word in a programming language, and it tends to be surrounded by speech marks so that it's differentiated from other types of data like numbers. Okay, so words are generally surrounded by speech marks in programming languages, and even if you enter nothing, it's nothing with speech marks around it. So we can very easily say if name double equals speech mark, speech mark. So if name and then a colon at the end of the line. If name double equals means if comparing name and this shows that they are the same. So if name double equals that, print how rude, I asked you your name. Okay, let's try that. If you got it right, this will work already. How rude, I asked you your name. But if I put something in, like Daphne, it doesn't say that. There was a problem though, a minute ago when I just pressed enter. It also said hello. Right, so if the name is that, it will print this. What you then do is say, right, what if that's not the case? Then you say else, colon. And something you might have realised that's happened automatically here the first time I did it is that the thing after the if is in. It's in by the amount of 2 spaces, but actually it's better to use the tab key on your keyboard. Press tab and it will go in by the right amount automatically. Same here. If I put else print hello name like that, you can tell Python just doesn't like it. And it will say expected and indented block. And that's because you call these sort of parts of the code which have spaces before them on the left, you call them indented. They are indented from the left. So I have to go before this print hello name and press tab. And the rule in Python is that if and else need to be in line with each other, and the things inside that if and else need to be in line with each other. So you can't have that. Well, okay, fine, you might be able to. But it's really, really poor practice to have things out of line which are technically kind of on the same level. Okay, so these are both to be indented by 1 press of the tab key, or 2 spaces if you really must, but use tab if you can. Okay, and that there is the first challenge fully done.